Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The sun was setting behind the city skyline, casting a golden hue over the apartment complex where I had spent the last 2 years building what I thought was a happy life. As the warm light filtered through the blinds, I tossed my keys onto the kitchen counter and let out a sigh of relief. It had been a long day at the office, but the thought of returning home to Emma's smile and the comfort of our shared space always made the workday worth it. "Emma? Are you here?" I called out as I hung my coat in the closet. There was no answer. I frowned, glancing at the clock. It was past the time Emma usually got home from her yoga class. Maybe she stayed late to grab a coffee or chat with a friend. I shrugged off the slight worry and went to the bedroom to change into something more comfortable. As I entered the room, a strange noise came from the direction of the master bathroom. It was muffled but unmistakable, a rhythmic thudding, almost like the sound of heavy breathing. My heart skipped a beat, a knot forming in my stomach. I tiptoed towards the sound, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. The door to the bathroom was slightly ajar. I pushed it open gently, and what I saw made my blood run cold. There, in the middle of the bathroom floor, Emma was straddling my father, Frank, who was lying on his back. My heart pounded in my chest, and my vision blurred as I took in the horrifying scene. Emma, her body completely exposed, was sitting astride Frank's face. Her moans, once muffled by the door, were now unmistakably clear. Frank's eyes, which usually held the wisdom of his 55 years, were closed, as though he were trying to escape the reality of the situation. My knees almost gave way beneath me. I took a step back, bumping into the doorway with a loud crash. Emma's head snapped up, her eyes wide with panic as she realized she'd been caught. Frank's face turned crimson as he scrambled to cover himself with a towel. "Jake! It's not what it looks like." Emma's voice was a desperate plea, but it came out as a strangled whisper. "Not what it looks like." I could barely keep the tremor out of my voice. How could this possibly be anything but what it looks like? "You're naked, and my father, is beneath you." Emma scrambled to her feet, covering herself with her hands. Frank stood up quickly, his face a mix of shame and guilt. "Jake, listen, this is not how it looks. There's been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I cut him off, the rage in my voice barely contained. "You've been cheating on me with my father." "How is that a misunderstanding?" "I can explain," Emma said, her voice breaking. It was a moment of weakness. "It meant nothing." "Meant nothing?" The words were almost foreign to me. "You think that makes it okay? You think you can just dismiss this like it's nothing?" Frank took a step forward, trying to interject. "Jake, you need to understand." "Understand what?" I yelled, my emotions spiraling out of control. "That you're both liars and cheats. That you've been deceiving me behind my back." Emma's tears began to flow freely, her face a picture of remorse. "I'm so sorry, Jake. I didn't mean for it to end like this. Please, just let us explain." I shook my head, disbelief etched on my face. "I don't think there's anything left to explain. I've seen enough." In a blur of anger and heartbreak, I stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind me. The cool night air hit my face as I stumbled down the hallway, my mind racing with betrayal and hurt. My hands trembled as I reached for my phone, dialing a number I knew by heart. "Hey, it's Jake. I need a place to stay," I said when the voice on the other end answered. "I don't know how long I'll be gone, but I can't stay here. Not tonight." As the line disconnected, I glanced back at the apartment. The life I had built with Emma lay in ruins, shattered by a betrayal I never could have imagined. The city lights twinkled in the distance, a stark contrast to the darkness enveloping my heart. This was only the beginning, and I had no idea how deep this betrayal ran or how I would piece together the fragments of my shattered life. I've spent the last hour pacing around Michael's living room, each step echoing the chaos swirling in my mind. Michael, my closest friend, and his wife, Lisa, had kindly offered me a place to stay for the night. Their cozy two-bedroom apartment was a welcome refuge from the shattered reality I had left behind. Michael's voice cuts through the silence, his concern evident. "Jake, you want to talk about it? It might help." I halt mid-stride, running a hand through my disheveled hair. "What's there to talk about, Mike? I caught my wife, my own wife, cheating on me with my father. What could you possibly say that would make this better?" Lisa, seated on the couch with a sympathetic expression, chimes in softly, "We just want to help. We're here for you." Michael nods in agreement, but I can see the frustration in his eyes. "We can't just let this go without some kind of plan. You need to think about what you're going to do next." I collapse onto the couch, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on me. I don't even know where to start. Everything I thought I knew about my life is a lie. "Have you thought about talking to your father directly?" Michael suggests, leaning forward. "Maybe he has something to say that could explain." "Explain what?" I interrupt sharply. "That he's been sleeping with my wife for God knows how long. There's no excuse for this." Lisa places a comforting hand on my shoulder. "Jake, I understand you're hurt, but you're not going to get answers if you shut everyone out." Just as I'm about to respond, my phone buzzes on the coffee table. It's a text message from Emma. My heart skips a beat. I glance at Michael and Lisa before picking up the phone. The message reads, "Please, Jake. Let's talk. I know you're hurting, but I need to explain everything." I show the message to Michael and Lisa. Michael's face hardens. "Don't respond. She's only trying to manipulate you." Lisa looks at me, her eyes filled with genuine concern. "You should at least hear her out. It might give you some closure." I hesitate, my emotions a tangled mess. After a long pause, I type a reply, "Fine. I'll meet you at the cafe on 5th and Main. But this is the last chance you get." After sending the message, I take a deep breath. I'm going to meet her. I need to know why she did this. Michael gives me a supportive nod. "We'll be here if you need anything. Just let us know." As I leave Michael's apartment, the city streets seem more daunting than usual. The weight of the confrontation ahead makes each step feel heavier. I arrive at the cafe, a quaint place with dim lighting and cozy booths, where Emma and I used to come for quiet conversations and lattes. Emma is already seated at a table near the window. Her shoulders are slumped, and she looks like a ghost of the woman I once loved. I approach, my heart pounding. "Emma." She looks up, her eyes red and swollen from crying. "Jake, thank you for agreeing to meet me." I sit down opposite her, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't even know where to start. Why did you do this?" Emma takes a deep breath, her hands trembling as she stirs her coffee. "Jake, I never meant for any of this to happen. It started a few months ago when I felt like you were always working late, and I felt so alone. Frank, your father, was just there to listen, to offer comfort. So, you decided to sleep with him?" I ask, my voice rising. "Was that the solution to your loneliness?" "It wasn't planned," she insists. "It just happened." I was confused and hurt, and then it spiraled out of control. "You think that's an excuse?" I snap. "You betrayed me in the worst possible way." Emma's eyes well up again. "I'm sorry, Jake. I truly am. I know it's no excuse, but I wanted to be honest with you. I wanted to tell you everything before you found out some other way." Before I can respond, a new figure enters the cafe. It's Frank, looking more disheveled than I've ever seen him. His eyes dart around the room until they land on us. He hesitates, then walks over, his face etched with a mixture of guilt and sorrow. "Jake, can we talk? Frank's voice is barely above a whisper. I turn to Emma, her face pleading. This is what you wanted? To have him here? Emma's voice cracks as she says, I asked him to come. I thought it might help. Frank sits down beside Emma, the tension palpable. Jake, I owe you an explanation. I was weak, and I let my emotions get the better of me. I never meant to hurt you. I stare at him, anger and disbelief coursing through me. You're my father. You were supposed to be a role model. Instead, you betrayed me and everything we had. Frank looks away, unable to meet my gaze. I understand if you never want to see me again. I can't undo what's been done, but I want to make amends in any way I can. The weight of the situation presses down on me. I look at Emma and Frank, feeling the enormity of the betrayal and the fractured family sitting before me. I don't know if there's any coming back from this. I need to think about what's next. As I stand up to leave, I catch a final glimpse of Emma's tear-streaked face and Frank's bowed head. The cafe's warmth contrasts sharply with the cold emptiness in my chest. The path forward is unclear, but one thing is certain, this is only the beginning of a long, painful journey. The next morning, I wake up to the relentless buzz of my alarm clock. I've barely slept, my mind swirling with the events of the previous night. The betrayal feels like a chasm, a void that I can't seem to cross. I rub my eyes and sit up, trying to piece together my thoughts as I prepare for another day in this new, disorienting reality. Michael's apartment is quiet, save for the faint sounds of Lisa moving around in the kitchen. I force myself out of bed and head to the kitchen, where Lisa is brewing coffee. Her presence is a small comfort in the chaos. Good morning, Lisa says softly, handing me a steaming cup. How are you holding up? I take the coffee, savoring the warmth but feeling the bitterness linger. Morning, Lisa. I'm not sure how I'm holding up. I keep thinking about everything that happened. Last night was intense. Lisa nods sympathetically. It's understandable. You're dealing with a lot right now. As I sip my coffee, I receive a text message from Emma. Jake, can we talk again today? I really need to explain everything. I feel a surge of anger and frustration. How many times does she need to explain herself? But the need for closure pushes me to respond. Fine. Same cafe as yesterday. Noon. After sending the message, I sit in silence, letting the warmth of the coffee seep into my bones. Michael enters the kitchen, looking concerned. Still planning to meet with Emma and Frank? Yeah, I reply, setting my cup down. I need to get this over with. I can't move forward until I understand why they did this. Michael clasps my shoulder, his gaze serious. Just remember, you don't owe them anything. You're not obligated to make them feel better. I know, I say, nodding. I just need to hear it from them. I need to make sense of it all. As noon approaches, I head to the cafe again, my heart heavy with apprehension. The familiar sound of the bell jingles as I enter, and I spot Emma and Frank seated at a corner table, their faces marked by exhaustion and regret. I approach them, trying to steady my emotions. Hello. Emma's eyes are red, and Frank avoids eye contact. Jake, thank you for coming, Emma says, her voice trembling. Let's get this over with, I reply, sliding into a seat opposite them. Start talking. Frank clears his throat and begins. Jake, I know nothing I say can make up for what happened, but I want to be honest. Emma and we crossed a line. It started with emotional support and quickly became more. It was a mistake, and I deeply regret it. Emma nods, her face pale. I felt abandoned and neglected. When Frank offered an ear, it turned into something more. I know it's no excuse. I should have come to you, but I didn't know how. I take a deep breath, trying to process their words. So, this started with emotional support and then what? It was just a mistake. How could you think that would fix anything? Emma's eyes well up. I thought it was a way to feel close to someone, but it was a terrible mistake. I didn't realize how deep the betrayal would cut until it was too late. Too late? I exclaim. It was too late the moment you decided to act on your feelings. You hurt me, Emma. You hurt our relationship, and now. The anger in my voice is unmistakable. And now my father is involved in this mess. How do you expect me to just move on from this? Frank looks pained. Jake, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make amends. I'm ready to face the consequences, but I need to know if there's any way to repair the damage. Repair the damage? I shake my head. This isn't about repair. This is about betrayal and trust. Trust that's been shattered beyond repair. Emma reaches across the table, her voice desperate. Jake, please. I know I've hurt you, but I want to try to make things right. I'll do anything to show you that I'm truly sorry. I don't even know what making things right would look like, I say, standing up abruptly. I don't think there's anything left to salvage. Before they can respond, I turn and walk out of the cafe, the cool air hitting my face as I step into the street. The anger, pain, and confusion are overwhelming. I can't stay here, not with them looking at me with those pained expressions. I start walking aimlessly, my mind racing. I need to clear my head. I walk past familiar streets, seeing the city through a haze of betrayal. My phone buzzes with messages, mostly from Michael and Lisa, checking in. I ignore them, not ready to talk. As the day turns to evening, I find myself at a park, sitting on a bench by a pond. The water is still, reflecting the darkening sky. I'm alone with my thoughts, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on my shoulders. My father and Emma have shattered my sense of stability, leaving me to pick up the pieces of a life that no longer feels familiar. I look at the reflections in the water, seeing my own face staring back at me, a face marked by shock and betrayal. The future seems uncertain, a labyrinth of pain and anger that I must navigate. As night falls, I realize that this is only the beginning. The road ahead is long and fraught with challenges, and I have no idea where it will lead. All I know is that I have to keep moving forward, one step at a time. The days following my confrontations with Emma and Frank blend into one another. Each morning feels like a harsh wake-up call, the weight of betrayal heavy on my shoulders. I keep busy with work, trying to distract myself from the chaos that has upended my life. But no matter how hard I try, the image of Emma and Frank together lingers at the edge of my mind. On a cold Wednesday evening, I receive an unexpected phone call from Michael. His voice, usually calm and supportive, carries a note of urgency. Jake, I need to talk to you. It's important. I meet Michael at a quiet bar downtown, his face taut with concern as we sit in a dimly lit booth. What's going on, Mike? I ask, sensing the gravity in his tone. Michael leans in, lowering his voice. I've been doing some digging. I was trying to find out more about Emma and Frank, see if there's something I missed. And I found something troubling. What do you mean? I ask, my heart quickening. What did you find? Michael pulls out his phone and shows me a series of emails and messages between Emma and Frank. These messages, they date back further than you realized. It seems that their affair wasn't just a fleeting thing. They've been in contact for months, planning and hiding their relationship. I scroll through the messages, my hands shaking. This goes beyond what I thought. They've been deceiving me for a long time. Exactly, Michael says, his expression grim. But there's more. I found out that Emma and Frank weren't just having an affair. They were planning something bigger, something that involves a lot more than just cheating. I look at him, confusion and anger mixing in my mind. What do you mean, planning something bigger? Michael takes a deep breath. I'm not sure of all the details, but it looks like they were setting up a way to take over some of your investments. They knew about your business ventures, Jake. They were using their position to manipulate and exploit you. My heart races as the implications sink in. Are you saying they were using me for financial gain? Michael nods. It seems that way. The affair was just a cover. They were orchestrating a scheme to take advantage of you. I sit back, trying to absorb the betrayal on a whole new level. So this wasn't just about Emma and Frank's personal failings. They were scheming against me. Michael puts a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We need to confront them with this information. You have to take action before they can do any more damage. I nod, my resolve hardening. You're right. I need to end this once and for all. That evening, I arrange a meeting with Emma and Frank at a neutral location, a small, private room in a cafe, far from the familiar spots where our betrayals unfolded. When they arrive, their faces are expectant but wary. Jake, we didn't expect you to call us here, Emma says, trying to mask her anxiety. Sit down, I say, my voice steady. I have something important to show you. I place the phone on the table, showing them the incriminating messages and emails. Emma's face pales as she reads through the evidence. Jake, I can explain, Emma starts, but her voice wavers. Frank, looking cornered, tries to regain composure. This isn't what it looks like. We were going to tell you everything. Tell me. I cut him off, anger boiling over. You were plotting behind my back. You weren't just having an affair. You were conspiring to undermine me. Emma's eyes fill with tears. We didn't mean for it to get this far. We were desperate. I thought we could fix things, but you only made it worse, I say firmly. You betrayed me in every possible way. I trusted you both, and you used that trust to exploit me. Frank stands up, his face flushed with humiliation. We were wrong. We should have come clean from the start. I understand if you want nothing to do with us. You're right, I say, standing as well. I can't be around people who would do this to me. Not after everything you've done. Emma reaches out a hand, her voice breaking. Jake, please. We can try to make amends. We can work through this. I shake my head, stepping back. No. This is over. I can't rebuild trust with people who've been plotting against me. With that, I turn and walk away, leaving Emma and Frank behind. Their pleas and apologies fade as I exit the cafe, the finality of the moment settling over me. The betrayal has been exposed, and I can no longer allow it to dictate my life. As I step out into the crisp night air, I feel a strange mix of relief and sorrow. The chapter with Emma and Frank has closed, but the scars will remain. I walk through the city streets, my path uncertain but my resolve clear. I need to focus on rebuilding my life and moving forward. The final revelation has stripped away the illusions, leaving me with a painful but necessary truth. The trust one had in Emma and Frank is irrevocably shattered, and our lives have diverged irreparably. As I continue down the path ahead, I know that the journey will be long, but it is one I must undertake alone. The deception has been revealed, and with it, the certainty that this chapter is truly closed.